Yo guys, what's up? So I wanted to do a video on Iron Mike Tyson. I'm quite far away from the camera. I didn't want to use a microphone or anything for the audio, but forget all that. I wanted to do a video talking about Iron Mike Tyson, who personally is my favourite fighter of all time. I saw a video done by Wilson Caden. I want you guys to go check his channel out. He's brilliant. He inspired me to do this video because I've talked about Mike Tyson in the past, but I really wanted to show a couple of things about Mike Tyson because you see, a lot of people feel that Mike Tyson is a fighter who was just a come forward brawler, and I don't really want to include any sort of videos of Mike Tyson in this. So I want to just tell you guys, because I like to talk like this, and this is how I like to do my videos. So my style's a bit different. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna try my best to show you guys. Forgive me if I do a few things wrong, but try and understand what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to do. So, what made Iron Mike Tyson great? You see, Mike Tyson, right? People think that he would lose to someone like Vitaly or Vladimir Klitschko because the Klitschkos are able to keep their distance. They just move, and all they have to do is keep Mike Tyson at the end of the jab. But my question is, don't you think, right, Mike Tyson, the opponents he faced, and given that he didn't face the best opponents and he lost to Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, but the point I want to make firstly is that Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield, the Tyson that they faced, in comparison to the Tyson that was in the 80s, the footwork was totally different. The Tyson who faced Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis was a different Tyson, a finished Tyson. The Tyson that was in his prime, he beat some decent level opposition but never got to face an elite, brilliant opponent. But he did face some good fighters and he annihilated them, and he was the youngest heavyweight champion of all time. So he deserves credit. But I want to talk about the technical aspects of Mike Tyson, how good he was, because people don't understand this and people don't give him credit. A way that Mike Tyson would nullify his opponent's jab, because people tend to think that someone like Vladimir or Vitaly would just be able to jab Tyson and just keep him at range and just outbox him. That is ridiculous, because Mike Tyson was able to nullify his opponent's jab, because if Vladimir Klitschko's arm came out to about this length, or it came out to about this length, or even held this length, if Vitaly or Vladimir throw that jab, Mike Tyson, what he used to do and what he was an expert of, and what he was trained from a very young age to do, he wasn't an average fighter in the pro ranks and then all of a sudden just started learning and became an expert. Tyson was schooled from a very young age. It's built in him. Tyson, he used to slip down this way and hit that jab there. Slip, jab. Okay? Another way he would do it is he would make an opponent throw the jab, and then he would slip and throw it here, right? And then that's all he would have to do to be able to get on the inside is slip, bam, bounce forward, roll under, and once he's on the inside, an opponent who has a longer reach is gonna have a more difficult time on the inside than an opponent with short arms, a stocky frame. That is what you call a brilliant inside fighter, a short, stocky guy. And what Tyson would do, he would jab, he would roll, he would hit a right hook to the body. And what he would do whilst he hits this right hook to the body is he would shift his stance from an orthodox to a southpaw. And this is something they teach in Catskill, where you guys can't see my legs, I don't think, but what they do is they shift their body weight from here to here to here to here. And then what that allows them to do is jump around their opponent. So you can jump onto this side of your opponent, their right side. You can jump onto their left side, and as you jump, if you think about it, when you rotate your body power, the hardest punch is going to be a right hook. But if someone tries to throw hooks like this, they're actually going to be, that's stupid, because what that will do is throw you off balance. It's difficult to land. But if you're fighting like this and you're able to jump into a punch like that, can you imagine how much leverage you get off it? That's where Mike Tyson's power used to come. And for me, someone like Vladimir, Vitaly, these type of fighters would be too slow for Mike Tyson. Because Tyson, all he would have to do is bam, or just go bam, bam, roll, hit that right hook to the body, and then what that would automatically do is lower the left hand of his opponent, and then once that left hand's lowered a little bit, uppercut to the chin of his opponent. And this is what Tyson used to do. It's a beautiful punch. Bam, and then bam. And because he's on the left side of his opponent can't hit him. And they never had the speed of Tyson. Something that people need to look at is go and look at Mike Tyson's training videos and how fast he was. He was unbelievably fast. He was faster than some welterweights. He was very, very fast. He was faster than most welterweights, was Mike Tyson. And he was a heavyweight, and he carried the power. He's the only fighter that I can think of who carried speed and power to that level what he had. I can't think of any other fighter who had that. And Tyson used to do these little tricks which used to nullify the opponent's reach. And like I said, once he was on the inside, he was able to destroy his opponent on the inside. Because he was able to throw a combination, a 4-5 hit combination, where an opponent who has a reach, who has long arms, long levers, is not good. They won't be good, tremendous inside fighters. They want to be on the outside to use their reach. But Tyson won't allow that. Someone like Muhammad Ali, on the other hand, a great fighter, has the speed and the ability to stay back and use his footwork and just pat, 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 and keep someone like Mike Tyson at range. Use the hand, what Ali used to use, and keep Tyson back like that. But you see, Mike Tyson was brilliant. And Wilson Caden said this as well, that someone like Larry Holmes was brilliant at using the hand to just keep a shorter inside fighter at range with the hand. But Tyson was very clever and taught by Cus D'Amato how to, because you got to remember, Tyson came after Ali, so he'd already studied Muhammad Ali, whereas Muhammad Ali had never studied a fighter like Tyson. Floyd Patterson, you could argue, but he ain't Tyson, you know. And Tyson was able to fool an opponent who uses that left-hand range-finding tool that they use, that little birdie that they have, that there, pat, pat, that thing. Tyson was able to move his head in a certain direction, fool the opponent, to make them think he's there, but really, by the time they go like that, Tyson's already on that side, and boom, hitting you a counter punch. He was a tremendous counter puncher, was Tyson. So nothing that I wanted to talk about was this thing about people who argue Mike Tyson, he never beat no one. I want to touch up on that. People say that irrespective, he lost to Vander Holyfield and he lost to Lennox Lewis. How can you, if you guys get a video, and I've said this before, if you guys get the video and you look at Mike Tyson's footwork and his hand speed prior to him going in jail, and then you look at him after he came out of jail, just compare it video by video, and you will see a significant decrease in footwork. And people say that someone like Muhammad Ali, he went off a long layoff, came back in boxing, and he dominated. Ali was a rangy fighter. He could get away with being a little bit slower. Mike Tyson relied upon speed a lot more, surprisingly, than someone like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali in his prime, he was fast, he used to use his footwork, but the thing with Ali was Ali had a bit more in the tank. Tyson fully relied upon his foot speed, because without his foot speed, he can't get in. He can't get in, right? And if he can't get in on the inside of an opponent, Tyson's finished. And that's where Tyson finished off in the 90s and the late 2000s. The late 2000s, I can't believe, and it upsets me. It really upsets me that people can diss a fighter like Mike Tyson and say, look, he got bust up by Lennox Lewis, and they actually compare the Mike Tyson of 2000s, who faced Lennox Lewis, who gave up after a few rounds, against the prime Mike Tyson in the 80s. You know, the one who was the youngest heavyweight champion of the world. There ain't no comparison with the two fighters, and you guys need to stop doing that. It's dead annoying. Tyson's my favourite fighter. I watch his combinations. I just love what he does in the ring. I think like his peekaboo boxing style, where he would always see nothing about Tyson. He had a perfect defense, and it wasn't just the defense. It wasn't just the offense. It wasn't just the counter punching. It was the mix of everything, and it was a system that was created by Cus, which Mike Tyson perfected, and they worked on it. And it's like, if you could get a fighter, teach him a perfect system from a young age, so they're like some Matrix stuff where they're taught and embedded in them, where they can grow up and become an unbelievable fighter. You have Mike Tyson. He was built. He was that guy. He was that thing, that animal, that beast that could not be beat in his prime when he was psychologically ready. See, another thing that Mike Tyson had was he had the psychological warfare edge as well, because he was psychologically strong when he was in his prime. He knew how to put fear into his opponents. Tyson only lost later on, right, because of his physical disabilities what he had in the ring from being so inactive for so long and losing his speed, doing too much weights, and taken so much drugs. I think all that stuff, right? And I think that also like Don King and that having an effect on him, because he did lose to Buster Douglas. And losing to Buster Douglas, in my opinion, I think, again, no training, no proper training camp, getting injured. And it wasn't just Buster Douglas he lost to. In actual fact, he beat Buster Douglas because Buster Douglas didn't make the count. So really, you can't say that Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. I understand he got knocked out and it's an official loss, but you've got to look at things properly, and Buster Douglas did not make the count. So technically, that fight ended there. But it was a bad night for Tyson. Tyson did get, taken out later on. But, Buster Douglas didn't make the 10 count. Tyson knocked him out. So you've got to also take that into consideration. And I just think that losing to Buster Douglas, for me, I think it was the drugs. I think it was the decline of Tyson. It was just the beginning of the end for Mike Tyson. But I truly think that Mike Tyson in his prime, when he was young, when he had everything, when he fought for the World Heavyweight Championship, it was very difficult for any fighter in history to beat him. I think there are a select few who could beat him. I think George Foreman is a fighter that could have knocked Mike Tyson out. I feel that Muhammad Ali is another fighter who would have been able to keep Tyson at range. And people think that Ali would be able to psychologically beat Tyson. Maybe. But I think that Tyson, when he was young and in his prime, he didn't care about none of that. And he was a tough individual when he was with Kevin Rooney and them guys. I think by the time he got with Don King, I think Don King ruined him as a person, introduced him to things that he wasn't used to. And there was a lot going on in the mind of Mike Tyson, which was away from boxing. He started fearing the world. He started because you got to remember, Tyson's life was totally different to mine and your life. It was a brutal life that he went through. And I just think like all these things combined is what led to the destruction of Tyson. But I just want to say that Mike Tyson in his prime, these fighters who people say Klitschko was way bigger than the opponents Tyson faced, I think, I'm telling you, that stuff doesn't matter. If anything, the bigger you are, the easier it is for Mike Tyson to beat you, because the longer and bigger you are, the less you're going to be able to do on the inside. And Mike Tyson will. And also it makes you slower. And Klitschko's have a lot of muscle on them, right? And I'm just giving you an example, right, of the Klitschko's. There's many fighters, right, who are big guys. And once Mike Tyson gets on the inside, the bigger you are, the harder it is to fight on the inside. And this is my thing. I just think like there are fighters who can fight on the inside who are big, tall fighters and they have a good inside game. Like Evander Holyfield was an example of a big, big fighter, but he wasn't. But I think like if you're short and stocky with short arms, you're always going to be able to throw pa 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 pa. You're going to be able to throw them combinations a lot faster than a person who's tall, because it's just mechanics. Think about it. If you've got short levers and you're going to go there, whereas if you've got long levers and you can get more torque on the punches if your arms are short as well. Does that? Am I kind of getting to you guys? You guys kind of understand what I'm trying to say? Because you have more room to hit on the inside with short arms. Where if your arms are long, how can you? You have to go around to get any sort of velocity onto your punch. Whereas if you're short, you can hit a short punch there, a short punch there. You see what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. These things to me, right, is just what made Mike Tyson the ultimate fighter, because he was able to get inside. And once you take away his footwork, he's no longer able to. So let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the section below. Please make sure you subscribe. What do you guys think of Mike Tyson? I think from the footwork to the combination punching, to the defense, to the offense, to the counter punching, he was a machine. And he had the peekaboo boxing style set by Cus D'Amato, which was pretty flawless, to be honest with you. And I just can't see many fighters beating him in his prime. Even Buster Douglas, that was his one loss on his record in his prime, even though he wasn't like ready for that fight. It was Tyson knocked him out. Do you get what I mean? Like, go back and check out the 10 count. Tyson knocked him out. So let me know what you think. Comments in the section below. Make sure you subscribe as always. I am Mike Tyson, my personal favourite fighter of all time. I love Tyson. Please try to keep away from negative comments. Mike Tyson is a fighter who I've always looked up to from a little child. Before I looked up to Ali, I used to look up to Tyson. I used to watch Mike Tyson fights, and I love Tyson. I always have. Let me know what you guys think about Mike Tyson, and where does he stand in your pound for pound or heavyweight rankings of all time. I definitely think Tyson was one of the best. But then you have to look at quality of opposition and who was that person actually beat. Because Floyd Mayweather looks brilliant against a certain level of opponent. You know what I'm saying? But let's see how he would look against a fast boxer like Ray Leonard. See what I'm saying? So, you know, for me, Ali, Ray Robinson, higher. But Mike Tyson is my favourite fighter of all time. In a bit, guys.